part of the staff here in Urban Quay, London, and we're today addressing the issue of spiritual warfare and how vital it is for us as Christians to engage with this. We have to take it in, I would say, two directions at least, in our personal lives, and as well we should take it into the context of our city, our urban settings that we live, and the history that has been declared upon them. Either we decide to do or engage or not, we are actually entangled in a spiritual warfare. The Bible says that we are not to come against flesh and blood, against principalities and strongholds in the air, in the heavenly realms. And that means that we actually have to be active in a way. You know, we have to be precise in the way that we act, and we have to be sure of our identity that has been given to us. Here today, we want to address a couple of issues with that. You know, we have the churches that are very clear in Christianity. We have the Christians that are over-separated. You know, that actually believe that because of we being paid by God, that means that everything is all good and done. And then we have another version that it goes very mystical and gives a lot more attention than it should, you know, to the principalities, instead of just fixing their eyes on Jesus as we've been called to. So we having these things in hand, you know, I wanted to touch different aspects of spiritual realms in the cities and in our lives, you know. We all know that there are declarations that have been done upon the land, you know, in many ways. We've seen that there are territorial things as well. In the cities, we see plazas, we see monuments, we see squares that have been declared and named after people that live for certain values. We have seen the monuments that have been done towards and to depict the spirit of the person that ordered it to be built, or the lifestyle of the person that has been named after. So we see that the declarations in a city have take a space, a physical space that has been declared by territory, and those I want to call today spiritual realm in the territorial way, spirits of territorialism, and those are the ones that are formed by the mentality that we can rule in different places without Jesus, you know, and we can declare what goes around on them. Nevertheless, I want to declare that all of those things are under the blood of God, and we shouldn't pay much attention into what they are, but what they are about, so we can fight efficiently. Also, we will encounter spirits that are immigratory spirits. When we go to the dictionary, you know, and to the meaning of the actual words Philistine, it actually means immigration, immigratory. And that actually brought to my attention that there are spirits that actually move. What immigratory means is that it moves from place to place, drying up the resources, using the place for its own benefit. It's very different to the spirits that are from immigration. Those are going to a place and established there, you know. So we have to actually even treat all those things, not only in the urban setting and in the city that we have, but also in our own lives. All the things that have come to dry, all the things that have come to establish themselves, and all the things that have been declared over our lives as well. Because we have to keep those two things in a very, very big and clear perspective. Also, we have to actually face this theme in a way that is not based and centered on the things that I feel or I see. We don't do spiritual warfare because I see the need. We don't do spiritual warfare because I can benefit, or the kingdom can benefit from this. We actually do specifically warfare because we want to obey God, and that's the power that actually gives us all the identity and authority to do it, because we're doing it out of love, like Jesus did. I don't do anything that the Father has not done, or He has not sent me to do. It's out of love, out of obedience, and that's actually the most powerful weapon we have in this lifestyle of going against the things that have been declared that actually don't submit to our God. Today, as we talk about this theme, we want to talk in a way that is very broad, you know. We want to touch the themes of society, the different spheres of influence that we have placed in them. For example, in the arts, Picasso himself, not a Christian, not a believer, he said himself Art is not to do beautiful things or to play beautiful things in walls or in places, but to do war and social justice. He actually grasped the idea that the actual anointing or the actual why of this medium, it was to actually take a message and bring a message to the people, to the masses. You know, he has had a very clear idea of what influence was and how he could influence through it.
About it, cities are the heart of a nation, is the heart of the people, it's the heart of the things that have been declared over the land. It's where you find the tendencies that will run over the nation completely. So I ask ourselves today, what is the calling of our nation? What is the calling of your nation? What is the calling to your city, to our city? Those things that have been established by God and the enemy has pursued it to distort, you know, through all this warfare that we find. And how Christians are actually called to fight with them. I ask you, what is the heart of the people that live in the city, in the nation? Governments are not placed outside of the city. There are places of influence. There's the places that God has determined to influence a nation. And the enemy has tried for so many years and centuries to distort what he had for the city, for the nation, and ultimately for the heart of the people that live in it. Arts, culture, entertainment, health, communications, we have education, we have government, we have so many things and spheres of warfare that we have to represent God and His principles into. And I ask you today, what are the areas that we have to influence? Are you influencing through your warfare in your own life? The things that you are being projected and drawn through these areas into your life. Things that you have been taught through these areas that don't submit to who God is. I think we have to take this a bit seriously. Because in Ephesians 6:12 it says that we will have to fight for things that were not made of flesh, blood, the strongholds, principalities, heavenly realms. In the city, we can find the things that are actually kind of declared over the nation, over the heart of the people. Cities are the heart of the people of the nation. And we actually have to fight with the principles and values. We're called to this spiritual warfare to be actually active out of obedience, out of knowing who we are in God, who God is, and what He wants from me. As Christians, we've been brought to a kingdom of light, but we were taken from a kingdom of darkness. We're called to be in the world, but not be from the world. In this, it can sound very mystical, but God is calling us to move differently, to not get under the influences, the spiritual influence over the nation, over the places that we live. As Christians, it would be so good if we would raise up above those things, with full knowledge of who we are in God, you know? Taking authority in our own lives to the things that actually are influenced by media, communications, government, health, and all the lies that actually are intertwined in between them. Because the enemy has played it in that way. We're not fighting against man or blood. We're actually fighting against principalities and strongholds in the heavenly realms.